Hardy, Ramanujan, number 1729 in Holy Quran. This number is the smallest positive integer, which is the sum of two positive integer cubes in two different ways. 1729 is known as the Hardy-Ramanujan number after a famous anecdote of the British mathematician G. H. Hardy regarding a visit to the hospital to see the Indian mathematician Srimavasa Ramanujan. 1729 is the sum of the cubes of 10 and 9, or 12 and 1. The impact of Ramanujan's work continues with mathematicians poring over his formulae and working to solve them. His discoveries have found applications in many spheres of science and continue to find new uses. No one was talking about black holes back in the 1920s when Ramanujan first came up with Mach modular forms, and yet, his work may unlock secrets about them, says Ken Ono, mathematician at Emory University. His discovery, the K3 surfaces, has been the foundation of the string theory. Number 1729 patterns in Holy Quran. While mathematicians delve into the complexities of Ramanujan's formulae and the fascinating properties of the number 1729, Islamic scholars are focused on uncovering patterns in the Holy Quran, particularly within the chapter numbers and verse counts. They explore how 1729 might be reflected in the Quran's structure, considering how God may have provided hints about the properties this number over 1,400 years ago, long before its mathematical significance was understood. Pattern, verse counts of 9 chapters. An intriguing discovery reveals a connection between the famous Hardy-Ramanujan taxi cab number 1729 and the verse counts of specific chapters in the Holy Quran. Here's a detailed look at this mathematical and spiritual marvel. Verse counts of top 9 chapters. Select the top 9 chapters based on the highest verse counts in descending order. Sum the verse counts of these 9 chapters, which equals 1706. Addition of the 9th prime number. Add the 9th prime number, 23, to the sum of the verse counts, 1706 plus 23. The result is 1729, which is the Hardy-Ramanujan number. Sum of chapter numbers. The sum of the chapter numbers of these 9 chapters is 114, which matches the total number of chapters in the Holy Quran. Specific example and integrity check. Among the top 9 chapters, Surah Tawbah, Repentance, which is the 9th chapter with 129 verses, plays a crucial role. If any change is proposed, such as Dr. Rashid Khalifa's followers claiming the 9th chapter has only 127 verses, the following changes occur: the 9th chapter gets replaced by the 16th chapter with 128 verses. The new sum of the verse counts becomes 1705. Adding the 9th prime number, 23, to this sum results in 1728, not 1729. The sum of the chapter numbers changes to 121 instead of 114. This alteration disrupts the mathematical harmony and diverts from the established pattern. Pattern, verse counts of 15 chapters. By examining the verse counts of the top 15 chapters in ascending order, we uncover an interesting numerical relationship. The total number of verses in these 15 chapters is 79. The sum of the chapter numbers is 1485. The sum of the serial numbers, from 1 to 15, is 120. The total number of numbers used is 15 times 3 equals 45. Calculation. Combining these sums, we get 79 plus 1485 plus 120 plus 45 is equal to 1729. Observation. At the 12th entry in the list, we find the first chapter, Surah al-Fatiha, which reminds us of the mathematical equation related to the Ramanujan number. 12 cube 3 plus 1 cube 3 is equal to 1729. Pattern, verse counts of 17 chapters. Begin by sorting the verse counts of the Quran's chapters in ascending order. From this sorted list, select the first 17 alternate chapters, e.g. 1st, 3rd, 5th, etc. Calculate the sum of the chapter numbers for these 17 selected chapters. Similarly, calculate the sum of the verse counts for these 17 selected chapters. The sum of the chapter numbers is 1572. The sum of the verse counts is 157. Add these two sums together, 1572 plus 157 is equal to 1729. Position of the chapter with 9 verses. Observation: in the sorted list, the chapter that has 9 verses is positioned at the 10th place. Significance: the cubic representation of 1729 is 10 cubed 3 plus 9 cubed 3 is equal to 1000 plus 729 is equal to 1729. The positioning of the chapter with 9 verses at the 10th place directly corresponds to the numbers 10 and 9 in the cubic form, highlighting a remarkable numerical harmony. Pattern: verse counts of 18 chapters. From the previous pattern, if we take the other alternate numbers, one more pattern emerges. Begin by sorting the verse counts of the Quran's chapters in ascending order. From this sorted list, select the first 18 alternate chapters, e.g. 2nd, 4th, 6th, etc. Calculate the sum of the chapter numbers for these 18 selected chapters, it's 1519. Similarly, calculate the sum of the verse counts for these 18 selected chapters, it's 187. Now we have this 1519 plus 187 plus pi, sum of 12 verse counts above 12 or serial number 13. i.e. 1519 plus 187 plus pi, 87, i.e. 1519 plus 187 plus 23 is equal to 1729. 1729 emerges from this. Remarkably, the numbers 1 and 12 are positioned at the 6th place from the beginning and the end, respectively. Additionally, verse counts are repeated before the number 12, but not after, highlighting a distinct symmetry in their arrangement. Pattern: sum of the first 12 chapter verse counts. The sum of the first 12 chapter verse counts in the Holy Quran leads to an intriguing discovery connected to the famous Ramanujan taxicab number, 1729. The sum of the verse counts of the first 12 chapters of the Holy Quran is 1707. The sum of these 12 chapter numbers is 78. The prime counting function value of 78, pi, 78, is 21. By adding 1707, sum of the verses, 21, pi, 78, and 1, since 1 is neither prime nor composite, we get 1707 plus 21 plus 1 is equal to 1729, 1729, which is known for its unique mathematical properties. 12^3 plus 1^3 equals 1729. Conclusion: this pattern indicates that no addition or deletion of verses is possible within the first 12 chapters, thus preserving the divine integrity of the Quran's structure. The mathematical relationship reinforces the idea of the Quran's completeness and protection from tampering, aligning with the concept of NAND, neither addition nor deletion, of verses is possible. Pattern: first 12 chapters of composite verses. The connection to the Ramanujan taxicab number 1729 using the first 12 chapter verse counts, which are composite numbers whose total is 1742. The sum of the 8 composite chapter numbers within these 12 chapters is 78. By using the following formula, 1742 minus 12, number of chapters, minus 1, neither prime nor composite, equals 1729. 1742 minus 12 minus 1 is equal to 1729 or 1742 minus reverse of pi, 78, minus 1 is equal to 1729. Pattern: first 11 chapters of prime number verses. When verse counts are listed in descending order and taken the 11 chapter numbers 11 verse counts at prime number positions, the total we got is 1721, and when added to the pi, 22, equals 8, we get Hardy Ramanujan taxicab number 1729. Pattern: digit sums of 114 verse counts of Holy Quran in 2 iterations. Digit sums derived from the verse counts of the 114 chapters of the Quran. The first iteration total equals 908. The second iteration total equals 539. Now we have this 908 plus pi, 908, plus 539 plus pi, 539, plus 28, the gap filler second perfect number, equals 1729. When the verse counts of the 114 chapters in the Quran are summed in 2 iterations, adding the digits repeatedly until a single-digit number is obtained, an interesting pattern emerges. In the second iteration, the digit 1 is repeated 12 times. The digit 9 is repeated 10 times. This directly mirrors the numbers in the cubic forms of the Hardy-Ramanujan number. 1 cube 3 plus 12 cube 3 is equal to 1729. 9 cube 3 plus 10 cube 3 is equal to 1729. 1729 multi-pattern. Listing the verse counts of the Quranic chapters in ascending order, we identify 84 chapters that gives a total of 2,520. Green color. By removing duplicate verse counts, keeping only the smallest chapter numbers, we reduce the list to 50 chapters. The total verse count for these 50 chapters is 1688. If we take the nearest square root of 1688, its square root 1681 equals 41. 1688 plus 41 is equal to 1729. Cyan color. Begin with the first chapter, positioned as the 5th position in the table. Add the chapter numbers and verse counts for the next 20 chapters. Sum of chapter numbers and verse counts for these 20 chapters totals 1728. Since we started with the first chapter, we add 1 to this sum. 1728 plus 1 is equal to 1729. Yellow color. Consider the bottom 17 chapters in terms of their verse counts. Sum the verse counts and their corresponding chapter numbers for these 17 chapters is 1718. The total number of elements is 34. Pi, 34, equals 11. 1718 plus 11 is equal to 1729. Pattern, from the letter counts of 3 verses. Hardy-Ramanujan taxicab number 1729 from the sum of the letter counts of the 3 verses, 228, whose order is 1729, 2520 and 1987 from the beginning of Holy Quran, sum equals to 6236, which is total number of verses in Quran. 228 plus pi, 228, plus 228th prime, plus sum of digits of 228, plus aliquot, sum of prime 1439 is equal to 1729. See how it depends on 12 plus 1 cubic form numbers. Also, it's 3 verses pointing to cubic form. 12 cube 3 plus 1 cube 3 is equal to 1729. 729th verse from the beginning of Holy Quran. It's Holy Quran, chapter 13 verse 22. And they are those who endure patiently, seeking their Lord's pleasure, establish prayer, donate from what we have provided for them, secretly and openly, and respond to evil with good. It is they who will have the ultimate abode. Thank you for watching. Your support and engagement mean the world to me. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Feel free to leave your